Talk about ListedKit. Welcome back to another product update slash roundtable meeting. Um, we are ListedKit. For anyone who doesn't know, ListedKit is a transaction management platform where we've built an AI assistant named Ava who can help you with closing your deals better, client communication, paperwork, and now today what we're going to be talking about, filling your forms. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and show you one, how Ava can fill your blank forms, how to manage all of those forms in your form library and how it works. I'm also going to show you the email monitoring and email intake feature we released based on y'all's feedback. So if anyone hasn't tried any of these features, hopefully this can help you get started on that. All right, so I am currently in settings and I am in form library. Here is where you can upload your blank forms for us to use. All you do is you click upload form, or actually, if you don't have a form in here, you will see a very nice, pretty graphic we designed saying Ava's face, upload your blank forms and Ava can fill them out for you. In this example, I uploaded a buyer addendum, and essentially all you have to do is click upload on the uploader. You can upload multiple forms at a time too. So if you have like 10 blank forms you want Ava to fill, just upload them all in bulk. And then you can kind of let that run in the background. It does take a second because Ava's reading every single page, looking for fields. It's a lot of heavy lifting on her end, but you can do it in the background and come back. You'll get a notification when it's done. And when it is done, you'll see your forms in this list like I have. And in here, she will have marked every single field with a term that associates with a field, like county is county, city is city, so on and so forth. Big housekeeping rule here. Make sure your fields are aligned. Ava's trying her best, but pixels are hard to see when you're in AI, and sometimes she places the fields a little off. So it would just be best to clean up and make sure they look good. So once you have that cleaned up, then Ava will reliably place the information when she's filling it into the line items. So just make sure you have that done. Also, in our testing, we noticed some of our users we're not saving, and I'm just pointing it out. We are aware of we should make it autosave, which we are working on, but in the meantime, please, please, please hit the save button when you make your field changes. Don't spend 5 minutes fixing your fields and then not saving, just so that your forms are perfect just once, and then you can reuse them across all your transactions on the go. So that's kind of the goal here. I'm sure you guys have seen this a million times before, except what's cool is Ava's analyzing all the fields. You're not drawing them yourself, and you can use them as you want. And then you can make new fields. You can actually add new boxes, but you can see here she kind of caught everything that I would need. So hopefully she's saving you guys a lot of time when you're not drawing a lot of new stuff. We've even added, if you want to white something out, like shapes and stuff that you can draw and cover stuff up if you want to use that. And then you can hit save. You can also share this with your team for all our teams there. You can just click that and share it, and then it'll go. Then you hit save, and it's sitting right here. Um, I know Vicky has a lot of forms and she wanted folders, so we built folders as well. You can click no new folder, name it, I don't know, test folder for now. And then you can go in and put specific forms in the folder so it's easy for you to see and easier for Ava to see as well. Um, and yeah, so now you can kind of put the blank forms that you have in the specific folders you want for your own how like best practice in keeping it clean. Um, Manu says this would be really great if it helped it link to our state contracts automatically. Yes, Manu, you are completely right. We want ideally for you when you sign up, you just tell Ava to fill out that Texas addendum and she has it. We need to get licenses. So that's why for now it's bring your own form. In the background, we're working on getting licensed forms from every state. Two problems. One, they're expensive, so we need to figure out how to get the contracts. Two, we're new on the block. So when we ask states for their forms, they're kind of like, who are you guys? So one thing that would be really helpful is if y'all have any way of helping us get in touch with the form providers, anybody, just email me and we would love to help streamline this. I can envision based on where our users are concentrated, those states getting the forms first, because that's how it would work. So if you want to move the needle on helping us get forms for your state directly provided by ListedKit, that would be really helpful. We're all working to this goal together, so would love any help from y'all's end on that. But yeah, back to the form filling. I have uploaded my blank form here, and now I want to fill it out in a transaction. I'm just gonna go into this transaction I have here, and before I talk about the right hand side, I want to talk about the chat because that's where we talk to Ava, our favorite assistant. We've built a command for you called /fill form. You just do slash, you do fill, and then you'll see the /fill form, where you'll get your built-in command from us to invoke Ava to fill your forms. That doesn't mean you can't ask her. You absolutely can. In plain English, ask her, or actually, in plain text, you can ask her to fill out my addendum, so on and so forth. Um, in case she's not being reliable, because we've all used Ava and sometimes she makes mistakes, put /fill form, and that'll make it way more reliable to pull the form in and fill it out. In this example, I asked her to /fill form this addendum to delay closing to July 5th. She went into my templates, she found the blank form and filled it out right here in the chat for me. And when you click on it in the chat, you'll see the pop-up here, and you can see the form has been filled with some information. I can click edit or fill form there to see the fields a bit better. Anything that's missing, you can manually type in and fill it out. Or if Ava just missed something, you can tell her in the chat again, hey, Ava, by the way, I want these additional terms to be 1, 2, 3, and she can actually go back and edit the form for you. As always, rule of thumb is if Ava is missing something or it doesn't get it right the first time, just try again or give her updates, and she actually can access the form as an entity the same way we can. So you can manually do it, or you can ask her again or give her additional instructions and she'll go in and fill it again. As you can see here, she filled it with whatever I could give her. And I just want to iterate on this. Here, I've provided her additional context. You don't need to just have the information in the details. You can also give her stuff in the chat along with the message to provide her additional context. So hopefully your transaction being the source of truth and what you're telling her working in parallel can help you fill out that form effectively. And then once the form is filled, just for now, because I'm sure most of you have heard me talk about this repeatedly, e-sign is coming soon. Just for now, you can download the form or even attach it to an email and send it somewhere. However you want to get it signed, or if you're not filling something that needs signature, that you can just go ahead and email it straight away to whoever needs to take a look at it. Now, on the right-hand side, and this is very typical to a lot of our design patterns, is if you can do something with Ava, we really want you to also be able to do it manually in case Ava is not delivering through the chat properly. You can always also manually do things, or if it's faster, then do it manually too. In compliance, under forms, there's a new form button. You just click that and then you choose either you can fill from the library that you've set up before, or you can give us a new form to fill. And then you'll have the option to actually also fill it yourself. You can completely fill the form manually if you need to, or you can talk to Ava and have her fill it. That way, we're hoping, when you're moving fast and you need to make quick edits, you can manually go in and make quick edits. But if you're starting fresh with a blank form, you can just give it to her and then she'll fill it for you in its entirety. Further, you can see this section here will now manage all of your filled forms, but any files you upload I don't actually have any files here, but any files you upload that are purchase agreement to start the transaction or addendums that have been filled outside will be set in files separately. So we've kind of distinguished the two, and the update of how they work together, we wanted to reflect in the checklist. For anyone that's new here, the way it's kind of set up is in compliance, we have the checklist as a reflection of where your documents are inside your deal. And the checklist is literally just checklist items with statuses on it. And so we've added form drafted, sent for signature, partially signed, signed. These signing statuses, you can click manually right now and use them because I know y'all are still tracking that somewhere. But when our e-sign comes in, it'll flip automatically. But in the meantime, you still have these statuses here. And so this checklist is reflecting where we are on all the documents. So when a form is created, the checklist should update. When the files are uploaded, the checklist should update. So you have a bird's eye view of where you are on all your documents, but then you can go into the other tabs and kind of zoom in and see specifically where the documents are. As always, we'd love any feedback with this because I do know as we're adding a lot of features, there's a lot of UI and menu. I'd love to know if it's actually delivering on Quran. I do know where my documents are on this deal, or I'm still missing this piece of that. So, you all know we really build all of this on feedback. So any feedback would be greatly appreciated, and I'll give you the email address to reach out to if you have any thoughts. Any feedback is really valuable. Um, cool. So that's the one-to-one. That's the 101 on forms. It's pretty simple. Just to recap, you go into your settings, you go to form library, you upload your blank forms. Please make sure the fields look good and you hit save. And then go into any transaction, do /fill form or ask Ava to fill out the form, and then she'll go through and fill it out for you. Femin asks, can it automatically fill Virginia forms and addenda? Yeah, Femin, as long as you bring the forms and give it to us, Ava can fill out pretty much any form. The system, again, if anyone's if you've used ListedKit before, you know we actually stay away from necessarily state specificity. We build systems that are just really powerful and then let you customize. Like our intake, you could customize it over time, but she's good at reading the contract. Same deal here. As long as when she reads the form, identifies that in this form, in this section, the name of the county goes in there, then she's able to do it. So you can kind of set it up that way. Actually, that's a good rule of thumb too. When you're building your own fields for whatever reason, name them something she can read and understand. Okay, I have to fill this info here. That will help both of you a lot. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Yes, Curtis, is this included in the per transaction cost? Praise is already answered, but yeah, this is a part of your credit. So yeah, you can use this today, guys. You can go in and try it out today. So really recommend if you have some time, try it out and see what you think. I think another gap that Jeremy spoke about with us was you can't really fill offers just yet because not because Ava can't do it, but because we don't have the ability to represent the buyer before we go under. And I just want to throw out there that's something we are aware of and we are pushing really hard to make a reality where we haven't narrowed down the experience yet, so don't press me too much just yet on this, but the idea is you're representing a buyer, you're making offers, you want Ava to fill out the offer for you for those different properties during like the home search. We want to get on that next, and we hear you if you have that concern. Right now, this is best for addendums, amendments, disclosures inside the transactions or during the listing. If you have docs that need to be filled out, that's the best place to use her for now. Yeah. Yes, Manu. We are very close on the feedback. So we're tracking feedback before we even release these features. So yeah. But let's see. Anything else related to forms before I go into email monitoring? No, but if anyone has any questions about form filling, start leaving them in the chat. I will just take a small minute pause to answer any questions. Femin asks, can it create disclosures, purchase agreements, and listing paperwork? Femin, I would want some clarity on that. If you're asking, can it generate the literal blank documents for you? I'd say no, because those are state forms typically. And if you want like a special PDF, she can't create PDFs kind of out of your prompts just yet, but she can't fill out the disclosure and the paperwork once you've given us a blank template to use. Manu says, even before, I would say when we start the representation consultation. Yeah, Manu, I think the thought is right now you can only start ListedKit one with a transaction and two with an address. But what if you could start it with one of your contacts? I'm working on a deal with John Buyer. You just click John Buyer, and then that becomes the entity that you then build towards a deal. Would be cool. Curtis asks, so if a blank contract is loaded in Ava is experiencing issues for now? No, Curtis, I just want to clarify. It's not that you'll experience any issues. It's more like In ListedKit, we let you represent the seller with the active listing piece, and then we let you represent everybody when you're going under. But there's no home search phase just yet. So it'll be kind of hard to fill out a buyer offer without being able to put a home search into ListedKit. So that's kind of the next phase we want to go into. Vicky asks, can Ava fill out listing agreements now? Vicky, I would say yes, she can fill out again any document, including a listing agreement. But in order to start a listing in ListedKit, you need a filled out listing agreement. So in that kind of workflow sense, it wouldn't be possible that way unless you want her to you manually put an address, put just the seller name, you give us the listing agreement, and then you have her fill it out more. That could work. Femin asks, can it integrate with Bright MLS and Reels transaction platform? We currently don't have an MLS integration, Femin, but what our Reel users are doing, and honestly, any compliance user, whether SkySlope, Dotloop, what's the other one, Zip Forms, any reporting platform where you have to send documents in, Ava can draft emails from your with your email address and attach documents to those emails. So at the end, once your documents are compliant, or if you filled out a form that you need to submit into your compliance system, you can just tell Ava, please email all executed documents to and give us the transaction email address you get from those platforms. And Ava will email them into those emails and they'll show up in the cabinet. You just then assign them to the relevant checklist item in Reason, Skyslope, Loop. So that's how our users are right now sending documents out. We don't want you downloading, uploading. You can just have Ava pull it from your inbox, do whatever you need to with it in ListedKit, and then send it to your compliance platform. Another tip there, Femin, is you can make your ListedKit compliance checklist mirror what the brokerage checklist looks like. So you're tracking one-to-one where we are on each document. Okay, let's go next to email monitoring and email intake. So I'm in settings, went to email, and I went to email monitoring, and I enabled both email monitoring and email intake. One of our users emailed us a question about the risk of email intake, which I completely understand. It is a bit scary. But the way we've built it, kind of like everything with Ava, she does all her work for you to review. There's really no risk of anything going wrong unless you approve it. And I'll say more, just keep that theme in mind. Email intake is a feature that was born from the idea that our users were tired of downloading and uploading contracts into ListedKit to start deals. Karan, I get 5 contracts a week, or I get 5 contracts a day, and I have to download, upload. Even in the downloading and uploading into ListedKit process, my documents get missed. When we released the ability for Ava to search your inbox, the first question was, but when can we start new deals? Because that's also a huge time load. And that's where email intake was born. Ava's monitoring your inbox for new contracts and surfacing the documents that come in and the emails that come with that into ListedKit. So you don't have to download the new contract and then re-upload it and have a copy on your computer, copy on ListedKit. It's all connected. And I want to show you what that experience looks like to kind of de-risk in your mind what's going on. She's not automatically charging a credit and starting a deal or approving like a fraudulent email or anything like that. All that's happening is if Ava identifies a contract in your inbox, on the left-hand side, you'll see the name, the subject line of the email under pending. And when you click start, you'll see this uploader that we're all familiar with. What's slightly different though is Ava says, I pulled these documents from and shows you the subject line, which you can click on to see the email right here. I trust Karan Khanna. He's my trusty assistant. He sends me all my contracts and I can even view or download the contract if I wanted to. But what Ava's done is she's identified, okay, this person has sent me a contract, and then lined up all the documents ready for intake automatically. So I don't have to now download and sort my files. It's all put here. I just mark which side I'm on and I hit go and I can start. So at this point, no credits have been taken. No information has bled into ListedKit. Ava's just teeing up the contract for you so that you don't have to go and hunt for it in your inbox, download it, and upload it in here. We can also add some guardrails to this by making your email intake and monitoring, which I'll speak about in a second, a lot more focused. You can, let's see, go here, go to email, and then go to monitoring. Yeah. You can basically allow with this off, Ava's a lot more careful about what she does, but you can always allow like your assistant or any specific email addresses you get contracts from, and they will be prioritized. And you can also block email addresses that have been fraudulent in the past, kind of mitigate what she's looking at. Let's see, do we have any questions? Okay. Carrie asks, if I have a transaction coordinator, can Ava access the progress of the transactions from my email and my transaction coordinators? Carrie, yes. You can basically connect your TC can connect their email and your email and have Ava monitor actively one of them, whichever gets the most emails, and then the other one you can tell her to search the inbox for. And I'll tell you a bit more about email monitoring there, but even email intake, essentially, these two features work on one integration at a time because Ava monitoring 10 emails actively on the same account is a bit of a overload on the system. You can pick which email is being monitored and prioritized for intake and new emails by going into your settings and picking your default integration. So that's how you can figure out which email is the go-to email. But then you can always have the other one connected and just tell Ava in the chat, oh, by the way, this also came in the other email, and have her pull it in. Curtis says, once the transaction is started, does it recognize new addendum sent and match it with the correct file? Curtis, yes. There's one caveat of, and I think I don't know if we've fixed that just yet, or we're still working on it. I need to double check and get back to you. But let's talk about the ideal experience, right? New contract comes in, you see it, you're like, this is good. Let me get started. And then once you're inside the transaction and that addendum comes in, Ava will pull it in and update your deal. The only gap that may happen is if it's still sitting here pending for hours and an addendum comes into your inbox additionally, I'm not sure if we've resolved Ava updating this pending to attach the addendum. But even in that case, even if the addendum isn't literally visible here, you can finish the intake and then just tell Ava, there's an addendum in my inbox for this deal, update my transaction, and she will. So I need to double check because you've brought up a good question, how it works. But we'll be meeting on a call very soon, so I can answer that with a bit more certainty when we do that. Femin asks, is ListedKit included as a benefit, or do we purchase our own credits? Femin, ListedKit is a partner with Rio, so you get a discount. I will send you an email with the specifics of how it works and a link to book a one-on-one call with me. Okay, so we've spoken about email intake and how we can get new transactions started a bit more effectively so that you're not hunting in the inbox and then into ListedKit. Let's talk about now when the deal is set up and new emails come in. This is actually a perfect example. When you now have deals inside ListedKit and you have email monitoring on, Ava is on every transaction looking in your inbox for the subject line and looking for emails that have come into your inbox. If you overnight were asleep, woke up and signed into ListedKit and activity happened in your inbox, just like I have here, Ava will pop up the new email that came in, and you can ask her to address the update. You can give her additional instructions, or you could leave it blank and just hit address. And all she's going to do when you hit update is read the email, read your transaction, and come up with a plan for you on how to handle it. And this is the simple way to think of it is an automation on top of Ava Search My Inbox. She's just now doing it proactively for you. So your inbox is being triaged and the relevant info is being put into each deal. And so to kind of answer your question, Curtis, about the addendum that came in, Ideally, you've set up your deal with the email intake, and then that addendum just pops up here as, oh, an addendum has come in. Do you want me to handle it? When I hit address, Ava's going to show me a plan and I can work with her. No, Ava, don't do this, do that, and kind of formulate how we want to go about managing this transaction. I do want to show if I can, actually, let me minimize this. If you are currently chatting with Ava and emails come in, instead of it sliding up and interrupting you, you will see a little badge on the bottom left that says one update. Click that, the slider will pop up and you can have Ava review your emails as well. Let's see if I have a transaction that doesn't have an update right now. Let's see, maybe here. Perfect. I just want to quickly walk through some email monitoring settings you can kind of align. Let's go. Yeah, sure. So when you first actually enable email monitoring, you'll see, if I switch it off, will it show me the pop-up? No. But if you switch off email monitoring, you can do it per transaction or you can do it across all deals. So if you switch it off in settings, then it will stay off on all transactions, and then you can come in one by one and switch them on. Email monitoring is a company level feature, meaning if you are an owner or a super admin, you can switch it on and off for the entire company based on how comfortable you are with using the feature. If you are a user, you will need to request one of your owners or super admins to switch it on. That also has levels to it. So as the owner, once you've enabled it on the entire company, anybody, a user, owner, super admin, can go in and choose whether they want it on just for a specific transaction, they want it on for all of their transactions that they're a part of, or for all transactions across the board. So you can actually even customize which transactions, which users are actually using email monitoring, and break down that level of access that Ava has based on your comfortability. Also, I think if you're an existing user with us, you would still have to go switch it on. We do not opt people in without your consent. I understand that some people don't want Ava reading their inbox. It's off by default. Switch it on if you want to, and hopefully this demo shows you why you should switch it on. Henry asks, can it monitor multiple email addresses? I have one for NM and AZ. That's a good question. You can custom. The short answer is no, and I'll explain why. You can at any point of time in email monitoring for any transaction. Let's say I am a team with 4 admins and one admin and like 5 agents. On the deal, since we're showing the emails in the chat, we need one person to be the point of contact who gets all the email notifications. Because from our early testing and review with our users, which is you guys, if everybody is getting bothered about different emails, then it gets really chaotic and doesn't really solve the problem of all the emails are being reviewed and put in place by one person. So we simplified it to, on every transaction, you can pick who your point of contact is. In this case, it's me, Karan, but I could have also picked Faye because she's collaborating with me on this deal. And then for Karan, you can pick one of your connected email addresses. However, you can change this from deal to deal. So on 1551 Merced Street, I am the point of contact, and my Harmony Venture Labs email is the one I am communicating with clients on, emailing lenders on. All that's being done by me on my email address. So this is what we're going to use. However, if on a different deal, I'm using my ListedKit email because that's a different company, whatever it is, I could switch that to my other email address and monitor it on that transaction separately. Further, if you are an agent and your assistant is using ListedKit, you could have the assistant as the point of contact and connect the agent's email and have Ava monitor your email for your assistant to see the notifications and handle. So there's a lot of ways you can configure this, and I think this is an interesting kind of question to pose as a team because nobody's really done this before, this active email monitoring. You may want to figure out, who do you want to be the point of contact on your transactions? What does that system look like? And then if you think that this system is conflicting with how you work, please let us know, and we want to obviously improve this and make this better. Um, but right now, that's something you have. That's an open-ended question for everybody here who wants to use email monitoring as a team. Who's going to be a point of contact? Which email is going to be monitored for which transaction? Let's see. I need one email for everyone. Good. Um, do I have any other? Okay, sender filtering, pretty simple. You can either say accept emails from any sender, but we do have the spam risk there. I will say, as long as it's on the slider pop-up, you can choose which emails actually get processed. So you may be okay with accept emails from any sender and then just deselect the ones that you don't recognize and then hit address updates. But if you want to be super safe, you can just say only allow emails that come in from the parties list in this transaction, and that's something you can do. So all your configurations are here. We also have a global version of this in the settings in case we're like, by default, um, John at admin.com is my admin. So he's not going to be in my transactions, but he always handles my work. You can put him on the global approved email settings, and then his emails will come in with no problems. So yeah, I've spoken a lot about email monitoring and email intake. This is a big feature that we've been waiting for a very, very long time, and I'm super excited that it's here. Please ask me any questions you have, and I'd love to answer them for you. Okay, let me see if I can, while people are typing their questions, show you the panel I was trying to show you. So if I switch it off here like that, and then I refresh here, let's see. Does anyone have any questions about email monitoring and email intake? Okay, let's see. Turn on for the workspace. If I turn on for the workspace, it gets turned on. Yeah. Um, and then I can pick just this deal. All my deals are enabled for everyone. However, if you are not an owner or a super admin, you will not see, you will just be asked to request permission to switch it on. Uh, Manu asks, if I would prefer to just send the email to the transaction, does Ava have an email address? Um, Manu, no, but inherently, if that email is already in your inbox, oh, you're saying if you don't want to connect your email address in any capacity, but you just want the email Ava. Not yet. That is a separate feature that we are looking to build. But right now, you could switch off the monitoring. You could just tell her to go into your inbox and find the email. Unless you don't want that either, then you would probably for now have to just copy paste the info in, and we will work on the forwarding email next. Teresa asks, is this being recorded for future viewing? Yes, it is. You will get an email with the recording link since you've joined, and it should be on our YouTube relatively soon as well. Okay, so I think we've covered a lot of the questions here. By the way, we already have a video on our YouTube channel explaining email monitoring and intake and forms. In case something got missed, you know you can always email us, and I'll actually pull that up here. You can email us at hello@listedkit.com, or click Help Center on the top right. That's how you can get in touch with us. We are very responsive and want to help. We want to make this product perfect for everybody. And last call for questions, everybody. It has been really um, awesome to talk to everyone. It's always a good reminder of why we are doing what we're doing when we have everyone here asking questions and sharing. Vicky asks, if you start with a listing and then convert to a sale, is that another credit? Vicky, that is another credit. Listing where you're doing offer management, scheduling of showings, writing descriptions, uploading photos, uploading all of the listing related work. That's one credit. And then when you go under and you're doing your new tasks with the close, that's a separate credit. Uh, thank you, Alan, for the kind words. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Um, I will see you guys hopefully in a week or two when we have more features to share. Don't worry, we have some really cool stuff coming down the line. This is just the beginning. Um, yeah, thank you. Have a good week.